Well, the recording is in progress. Thank you so much for joining us. Today is July the 24th, 2021. My name is Andrew Williams Jr. Herschel Daniels has asked me to begin today's presentation. For those of you who don't know, I am also with the Friends of the African Union. In 2012, I was appointed as director of the Friends of the African Union Bermuda Americas Bureau. So I'm here in that regard as well. I'll just begin by reading what you have on your screen right now. The African Diaspora Directorate and Friends of the African Union relationship is built upon supporting these aspirations. We believe that they can be created by the wealthiest people of the global African diaspora, us, the 55 million in the USA, whose 1.25 trillion GDP gross, excuse me, GDP would rate as the 13th largest economy above Mexico. A prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. An integrated continent, politically united based on the ideals of Pan-Africanism and the vision of an African Renaissance integrating the global African diaspora. An Africa of good governance, democracy, respect for human rights, justice, and the enforcement of the rule of law. A peaceful and secure Africa that is based on peaceful coexistence of people of different heritage, cultural identity, values, and religion, integrating the global African diaspora. An Africa whose development is people-driven, relying on the potentials offered by people of African descent, especially its women and youth, and caring for children. In Africa as a strong, united, resilient, and an influential global player and partner for us in the USA. The African Diaspora Directorate and Friends of the African Union are in unity to unite not only with the people of the African Union from all over the world that have similar goals, interests, talents, and collective goals, but also with allies who support the people of the AU in meeting the challenging times before us, and builds on and seeks to accelerate the implementation of past and existing continental and African diaspora initiative for growth and sustainable development. And now, bear with me just a moment, and I'll read the email that describes today's activities. Just to let you know, I have taken the initiative to invite a local Buffalo Soldier member or for the Buffalo Soldiers organization here in Southern California. His name is Phil Fixco. He did say he'll be able to join us. So our intent is to not just stream today's event, but to also be able to share it with people around the world who are not able to physically attend. They can get the information and join us in future activities. Okay, I have the document in front of me now, so I'll begin reading. First, let me share or create the grid so that you can see who's speaking. And if you're not speaking, please unmute yourself. Otherwise, you will be actually shared in the tag here. So please, if you could, mute yourself if you're not speaking. So today, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time, briefing on the National Buffalo Soldiers Day and Brigadier Tom Viselak letter, July 23rd, 2021. So this is from Herschel Daniels. July 28th, 2021 is National Buffalo Soldiers Day, and as part of the Ohio Command of the VA Authorized Veterans Service Organization, the National Black Veterans Association, I would have you or someone contact me on a proclamation of support during that day's activities. In Southwest Ohio, we would read it out at the Park Monument in Cincinnati for Cincinnati Black Brigade of the Civil War. We will then go to the William Howard Taft National Historic Site in my family neighborhood of Mount Auburn. Herschel says he used to be a community council member and LSD-MC in Mount Auburn to commemorate Buffalo soldiers as park rangers. For your information, in 1866, Congress passed legislation known as the Army Organization Act, which formalized the creation of 6 all-Black U.S. cavalry and infantry units. National Buffalo Soldiers Day will be celebrated on Wednesday, July the 28th of 2021. From at least Ohio, California, Oklahoma, New York, Kansas, Texas, and Washington, D.C., we will honor Charles Young, who was just a couple of years old when he and his family escaped slavery by crossing the Ohio River into Ripley, Ohio. He will go on to become the first Black man to become a colonel in the United States Army, the first Black National Park Superintendent, and the highest ranking Black man in the regular Army during his lifetime. Young was a Buffalo soldier, the name given to the all-Black 9th and 10th Army regiments by the Native Americans they encountered. Today, the Charles Young Buffalo Soldiers National Monument in Wilberforce, Ohio, commemorates Young's life. You're invited daily, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with 1-hour Zoom webinar between July 22nd and July 28th, 2021 on National Buffalo Soldiers Day. And he has a link for you to sign up. I'll put that in the chat. Thank you for your patience. While we're still waiting on Herschel, Ms. Carolyn Kennedy, a protocol demands that I first turn the floor over to you. Perhaps you could introduce yourself, and then if you could be so kind, our guests, and I do have an additional guest coming. So Ms. Kennedy, if you would introduce yourself, I'd appreciate it. And those attending, if you would take a moment or two to introduce yourselves, by then perhaps Herschel will be with us. Thank you very much. Ms. Kennedy, the floor is yours.
Thank you. This is Carolyn Kennedy, and I just want to say welcome to everyone. We're very happy to see all you on the call today. I am the Executive Director of the Africa Diaspora Directorate, and I meet daily to host the meeting for the Black Folks Plan. I am a social worker by training and have more than 20 years of experience working as an administrator and manager of social work programs, including County Department of Social Service, mental health treatment facilities, and my most recent one, which I retired from recently, group home programs for developmentally disabled children and youth. I joined AHIABGA January 2020 and have been serving to help build this organization since then. I'm excited and delighted to be a part of this group, and have gotten to know some of you, and hopefully we will get to know you better, and soon I'll get to see you in person. So thank you. And my husband, Kofi, who's chairman of the Africa Diaspora Directorate, is here. And Kofi, you want to say something?
Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are in a new...
Yes, we hear you, Kofi. If that's the extent of your invitation, perhaps we'll go on to Elder Prophet. You were the first person here, so perhaps you could introduce yourself, Elder Prophet.
Hi, I am Anyan Cox, and so I'm in Wichita, Kansas, actually. And so what do I talk about? Well, my background is in mental health, and I've been a mental health psychiatric nurse for many, many years. Also, now through my work with healing circles, they're not therapy, but they're circles for people of African descent. And I've also done some for allies of people of African descent for healing historic trauma and even dealing with some of the everyday things like the many police shootings and killings, and people come together to process their trauma and their distress and their seeking for hope and that kind of thing. I'm also one of 15 members of the 400 Years of African American History Commission under Public Law 115-102. There are 2 females on the commission. I'm one, and the other female is Kate. We're both Coxes, but not really unrelated, other than Children of God kind of situation. And so I'm also a member of the Wichita Council of Elders. I'm an institute elder in the Wichita African American Council of Elders, as well as the National Black Council of Elders. And that's sort of a quick summary of my background. And very happy to be here, very inspired by what I'm seeing and hearing. Also was became a part of the in Tulsa. We were in Tulsa and was I apologize. I've been traveling. I was gone for like a month, and so I'm just getting back home. So, but anyway, I'll end there. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. If you'd be so kind as to insert your contact information in the chat, along with any of the organizations that you represent and any websites that you would like us to be able to connect you with, we would certainly appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. And yes, because I would like to be kept up on the meetings as well as the recordings so that I can share. I know several, my son-in-law, in fact, is a vet, so I'm really interested in getting some information on the veterans. And of course, we have friends as well who are veterans, and a particular interest of mine or someone that I'm very supportive of in their work are the Friends of Port Chicago as well. So I'll add that in. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. Ava Bates, I believe you were here next, and then Bernice. So Ava Bates, if you could unmute yourself and introduce yourself, if you so choose.
Hello, this is her daughter, Carla. So yeah, I'm the daughter of Bernard and Ava Bates, and my dad was a farmer, one of the Pigford Legacy One Block farmers. And so we have been attending the nightly meetings with the African diaspora. And so we were invited here to this meeting, and we're just here to listen and learn. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And again, if you so choose, please put your contact information in. When my hands are free, I'll put the link in to the Facebook page where we're streaming this. It will also, I think, be reposted to the African Diaspora Directorate, but there is a live streaming link. I'll put it into the chat here. Bernice, are you there, available? Can you unmute and introduce yourself,
Yes,
please?
I'm here. I'm Bernice Atchison from Chilton County, Alabama. I'm part of the Friends of the African Union, FAU Smart Wise Reinvestment Coalition of Chilton County. I am the president of that group. I am a Pigford One Big Claimant Advocate Legacy Farmer, a member of the World Conference of Mayors. So I try to keep myself busy, aiding and assisting the people.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so very much. Wikila, I see that you're here. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Wakila Martinez, associated with the Council of Elders, one of the lead person on the establishment of Wassenaar 7th Division of the Elo Krobo. I'm also an honorary board member of WCM, and just so involved in so many aspects of this. I joined FAU when it first began because it was part of the establishment of the National Black Council of Elders, of which I am founder, as well as the Queen Mother. So I do a lot, and I really am interested in furthering whatever I can do to continue this conversation around aviation education in Ghana. So that's my interest in hanging out with you guys to see where everything is going.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I believe we walked ourselves through our female attendees. And from my perspective, as long as we uplift our women, then of course our legacy will always be assured. But on that note, I think John T. Moss, I think you were the first male to join. So John, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. And it's nice to see you on the call as well, Andrew. I know this is like your third call I've seen you on, so it's nice to have you here. Thanks. And so I'm John T. Moss. I'm a member of the Caddo Indian tribe and representing our nonprofit Cash Community Development, which stands for Caddo Assets Services Help Community Development. And Andrew did a quick introduction to Herschel, and we grew it from there. And in the picture here, you could see we then carried it to the United Nations in May 20th, 2016, and presented also a live radio show with Jay Winter Nightwhip and Herschel and Queen Mother Blakely, presenting the beginning of what is the Indigenous Peoples Plan, Black Books Plan, and continued that. Now we did it again on April 29th of this year at the UN, and then up at Black Wall Street. I'm also the president of the Southern California Native American Indian Chamber of Commerce. And so with that, we're working with all of closer with the tribes and nations up here as well. My background is banking and finance. I wrote a book called The Millionaire Loan Officer, and which is a over 32-year proven training system recognized all over the world on communication and financial literacy. So that's what I'm working to help bring to the plans we're presenting to help holistically with housing and finance, because a lot of the challenges everyone has start with not understanding banking and finance, or when you do get money, how do you best leverage that to have generational security. So that's as brief as I can keep it for right now, but thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I noticed you have put your information into the chat. So of course, people can reach you or they can contact you on the available information you have here. Thank
Absolutely.
You so much.
Absolutely. I always put it in the chat because again, it's important. We're all networking and communicating, and I usually try and have a live base up here too, so I can wave at Ms. Atchison and Rod and everybody.
Well, thank you so much, John.
Yes.
Now, I think the rest of us are males. I'll just go by the order I see on my screen. James Branch, if you could unmute and introduce yourself, if you choose, and share your video. And if not, I'll proceed to Don Polk. That's the next name I see. James Branch.
Yes, hi, how you doing?
I'm at least fantastic, thanks. And you?
Okay. Yeah, we're kind of like pressed for time on a lot of issues. Trying to get some things completed before the weekend. They got a deadline. So I'll introduce myself on Monday or Tuesday.
Okay. All right, sure.
All right, have a good day.
All right, thank you so much. All right. Mr. Polk, looks as though you're next up if you so choose.
Yes, hi. Sorry, I won't be videoing today, but I'll try to change that going forward.
Thank you.
So essentially, I'm sitting in, listening, learning. I was invited to this group and a few others by Herschel Daniels. I guess just essentially, I'm involved with a National Policy Alliance, trying to bring about some very important aspects of building economies, building business, and that's really where I'd like to focus. I've been in business for over 30 years, built several companies, involved now in 3 different disciplines from healthcare, telemedicine, telehealth, televisits, commodities, which includes oil, gold, diamonds, etc., as well as coffee and other ventures. And what I'm looking to do is focus on fairness, equity, and again, building business, real dollars that will lead to multi-generational wealth, legacy building, etc. So anything I can do that focuses on those areas, I'm all in. And again, looking to develop very strongly trade between America and Africa, I should say Black America and Black Africa. So that's it for now, and I'll keep enjoying the meetings.
Well, thank you. But before you go, as we all know, Africa is not a country, it's a continent. Do you have particular countries that you are now or intend to be or choose to be involved with?
And yes, that's that's definitely correct concerning the continent, as are others. I'm already involved with Ethiopia. I have a business partner there. We have a company here in the United States, Vantera Coffee Bean Company. So we trade, we produce and export coffee from Ethiopia. I'm working in Sierra Leone, primarily in the gold sector, Nigeria. We're in the process of working in Tanzania, Uganda, and other African countries. You're on mute, sir.
Thank you. Technology is only great when it works, but thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate that. When Herschel gets here, I'll put a link into the chat for today's streaming and also for previous events that we've held. But now I'll just step down the list here, and I'm not sure if I can see the name here. So let's see here. Oh, Ron Bradshaw, Mr. Bradshaw, if you're there and able to unmute and introduce yourself.
Yeah, this is Rod Bradshaw. I am a Kansas farmer in Jetmore, Kansas, and a member of the African Diaspora and Friends of the African Union. Herschel Daniels has brought me on, so I'm just observing and listening this evening, so go from there. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Michael Harris, I see that you're there. Are you able to unmute and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Michael Harris. I'm out here in California in the in around the capital region, and kind of bringing various groups together around National Buffalo Soldier Day. As many of us know, the battle for us to become Americans happened in the Civil War, and the colored troops were officially part of the regular army July 28th, 1866. And even today, you fast forward today, the superintendent at West Point's a man of African descent. The man who's running the entire military, General Austin's a man of African descent. But the origins and how this came about somehow is not widely known. So National Buffalo Soldiers Day, we kicked off today, and we're bringing folks around the world together to honor that legacy.
Okay, well, Herschel has joined us, but I think we have one more person that has not been introduced. Before I get to, no, I guess you're next. Mr. Phil Fixico, are you able to unmute and introduce yourself?
Yes, hello everybody. I'm a Seminole Maroon descendant and activist. I've been a member of the Buffalo Soldiers LA chapter for 17 years. And my story was featured in the National Museum of the American Indian in the Indivisible show. And In 2019, I attended the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, and currently I'm working with the Western Hemisphere Maroon Project, and I'm thank you for the invitation.
You're very welcome. All right, Chairperson Herschel Daniels, it seems that you've joined us. So I'll turn this show over to you if you're able to take.
Yeah, but stay on, Andrew. Okay. Tomorrow's going to be the one where I'll take it fully. Today is recovery day for me. I've been drafted for family stuff. Okay. This is what you get for being after 24 years of marriage. Okay. All right. So welcome, everybody. Today, you would have received the email on yesterday on the, or today, on the subject of this Wednesday, the celebration. And I'm going to make Michael, I'm assuming you're going to have briefed everybody on California and the move in California in Sacramento as a member of the Sacramento Historical Society.
I didn't touch on that. I just touched on briefly on the National Buffalo Soldier Day.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn it over to you to give the in-depth briefing. I'm going to give at 40,000 feet. Okay, and also if you could give the National Park Service meeting summary that you held on Friday. So here's what's happening. I've got a meeting with Don Graves, Commerce Deputy Secretary, on the 29th. And so I sent him an early memo to bring the Commerce Secretary and to bring the Veterans Administration through the Office of Partnerships. I was on with the director on Thursday. And so I sent him the email on Friday telling him that this is what we want to partner to do with the Veterans Administration Office of Faith-Based and Community Partnerships. And so then I'll follow up on that with you and others on the phone on Monday. Now, I do my work in this from the perspective of the National Association of Black Veterans, okay? But we cede to the Buffalo Soldiers, which I wrote over a month and a half ago, their headquarters in Texas. And apparently they were in the midst of their re-election campaign and nobody's ever got back to me, okay? And so I don't know what the Buffalo Soldiers as a command staff or as units are doing. But what is unique about this is that the President of the United States has issued on day one an executive order 13985. And that executive order 13985 says that he will address racial equity and address the issues that are surrounding the history of Black folk in the United States. And so with Michael, we have a special focus on veterans, and especially veterans in California, and he'll tell you more about that. So California is one of the petri dishes of creating for Black veterans and Cal Vets a section that is specifically focused on Black veterans. And Michael will tell you more of that, and hopefully he won't bring his flamethrower with him. Okay, all right. But the key is what we have is the unique opportunity with this administration, with a president who has the authority to issue $10 trillion worth of new Federal Reserve debt. President Trump only got a chance to issue $2 trillion, and he took back $1 trillion when he lost the election. And President Obama issued 4.8 trillion. But President Biden has the ability, when I say the $6 trillion public-private partnership with the federal government, it is a 75-year plan that is based off of work that we started in 2016 that now this year has culminated in $298 billion worth of bank-based community benefit agreements. Not trying to get those agreements, they are in fact in existence today. The key is that we have to have the leadership of making the Black Folks Plan local. And reason California is a lead in this is because on July 9th, the reparations bill in California and the reparations task force held a meeting to lay out their plan of work in California. There's only 2 states that have passed statewide reparations, California and Maryland. California is in implementation. And so within that context, okay, we have a unique opportunity that we started out with the U.S. Department of Agriculture because the Secretary of Agriculture has $1 billion in the American Rescue Plan Act at his discretion. Unlike the $4 billion that is for not black farmers, but socially disadvantaged farmers who are in business and that need that assistance. And it has to go through a process called notice of funds availability. At the best, those funds won't be available till July 26 is the period, but that's really not real because there's a temporary restraining order have been issued. But the $1 billion is available. Now on June 9th, we talked to the Minority Advisory Committee, which is the only committee in the Department of Agriculture that gives advice to the secretary only on issues related to minorities in the USDA. We laid out a plan of action, and in that plan of action, we had 4 steps. And the first step is to build a history of America based on economics. And where that's different from the current controversy, it's based on not a narrative like the 1619 Project and not a theory like the critical race theory, but it's based on accounting. It's based on in August 25th, 1619, who owned the lands that made up the United States of America. And from that, how did they lose those lands as the European settlers came? How then did Africans in enslavement and in freedom affect the ownership of that land that today is worth $270 trillion? So currently, we pay about $31 billion a year to Native Americans for that land. That is now worth $270 trillion, that the United States GDP is $21 trillion a year. And we, as citizens, earn $1.25 trillion and are the biggest income of any people of African descent worldwide. Because the total of all of the countries of Africa is $3 trillion for 1.3 billion people, whereas the 55 million of us earn 1.25 trillion pre-COVID. The rest of the 245 million people of African descent in the global African diaspora may earn 750 billion together in aggregate. That includes Brazil, which we count as having over 90 million people of African descent. But there are like many other countries in the Americas that the people don't want to attribute their history to being people of African descent in their heritage. So as a consequence, we count 300 million people of African descent in the global African diaspora, meaning 1.6 billion people who earn 5 trillion of the world's $80 trillion in global GDP. And so the key is that we as Americans are in a country that currently controls 70% of the world's economy is denominated in dollars. So that means out of the world's economy of about $200 trillion, 70% of that is transaction in dollars. So when you're number one, you got a target on your back. And so the president feels the heat from China, who has said that they have a plan. They have a plan and they're working their plan. The United States is just in the midst of a new administration that has a different plan than the previous administration, but is taking some of the tools that has been left from the previous administration and melding them into its plan. Well, Black folk, we haven't had a multi-year, 75-year plan. Okay. All right. All right. And so now we do. It's called the Black Folks Plan. All right. Indigenous people, we have a plan for that. People with disabilities, women, sustainable development goals. Okay, we have all that. So you want to go on up? All right. Well, you got to ask them to let you in.
I'm sorry, Herschel Daniels. I'd just like to ask while you're pausing there, is Reverend Amos Brown in that group that you spoke of in California? Is that the group he's in?
Michael's the man in charge in California. Okay.
I'm not in charge, but yes, Amos Brown is he's on
for FAU. You are. Okay.
Okay. All right. All right. Yes, he is on the committee, and he, as a sagely old politician and minister, he's co-chair, and how he did it was just masterful. Those of us on the call that are in ag understand that you tether a old mule with a young mule if you want to plow the fields properly, and that's the analogy he used to become the co-chair of the committee.
Okay. Okay, good. Well, at some point, I had a quick meeting with him, and he's waiting for some information from me. I'm in California, Los Angeles, and certainly want to contribute to that initiative. I have a lot to offer where we can really get some things done. So, and that's
well, Don, let me tell you what we can do, and we could go offline and talk about this more. But and Herschel, everybody on the call, what we can do is actually host a parallel listening session that's in line with the work of the committee that's making recommendations on our behalf to the entire legislature, because they need our assistance. They have their expertise. However, they recognize that they don't have all the answers. They don't have all the data, and they're asking for help.
Right. At this point for this year, we're looking in California for both the California Black Legislative Caucus and the Congressional Caucus to buy in by proclamation or by sign off on a document that hopefully we'll have ready for them sometime on Monday. I'm doing the same thing here in Ohio. We have a group in Michigan, Florida, Alabama, and other states that are following our lead, Michael. Okay, and putting the document together to get our congressional sign off.
Yeah, and Don, the fact that California is named after Queen Calafia, a woman of African and indigenous descent. And we have all these powerful sisters, Karen Bass, Maxine Waters, Barbara Lee.
Maxine knows me well.
Yep. So, hey, how's it going, man? Oh, you grew a beard during the period. All right. So you got to understand, I'm back downtown. Since COVID, I haven't been downtown. So, here, the key here is California and Ohio are crucial because this is where Colonel Young, when he was a young child, escaped from slavery. And so in Wilberforce, we have a commemoration center for Colonel Young. Okay, and we have a historical center for the Colonel. Okay, and so plus we have the Taft. Okay, we have the Taft National Park Service for President Taft here. And so the key is that Colonel Taft, okay. No, go. Oh, well, go ahead when you're ready. Okay. Okay. All right. So Michael, take the call. I'll be back in a minute.
Michael dropped off, I think, for a
Yeah,
moment.
I think I'm back. Yeah, I'm having a
Okay.
little technical. But okay, so let me back up. So two things Herschel wanted me to talk about. One is here in Sacramento, which is the capital city was moved here in 1854. Go back to 1849, California was the convention changed the dynamics. The law was the law was Mexican civil law, and it changed it to English common law. What that meant is all the land was owned by only white men. So the Native Americans, the Latinos who owned the land, it was Mexico, the people of African Latino heritage, and people just were African people that were here in the gold rush, lost all rights. And then so the 1850 compromise is what we can look at from sea to shining sea, because that changed the dynamics, the fugitive slave law. And so I guess I'll say like this, the bullet pulpit that we have now is, as a board member of the Sacramento Historical Society, we have the history from 1849 coming forward. And that's everybody's history, the Sacramento Historical Society. And I've been primarily focusing on African indigenous history, but now with that new platform, we have the entire legacy. What we also have is the archives for the state of California with Dr. Shirley Weber, who authored the bill 3121, Assembly Bill 3121, which is the statutory authority that was signed into law by the governor to do a study on reparations, the first in the country. And as Herschel said, the one that's, in operational. They've had 2 meetings, getting their foot, getting things in order, electing chairs, getting rules on how they're going to move and how they're going to engage the people throughout the state of California. And with Top Eye looking at how California impacted the entire United States. As most of us know, upsetting the balance of 15 free states and 15 folks who were enslaved, and all the gold. So the idea that the land from sea to shining sea, we're really just talking about east of the Mississippi, west of the Mississippi was still indigenous land, roughly in 1850. So bringing it fast forward to today, when we look at the holiday that was just enacted, Juneteenth, and I was regional director, basically the West Coast, 19 states and several territories out in the Pacific. And because of the way that went down, I'll just say I was not pleased with the political way it went down, because it's a perfunctory piece of legislation as it exists. It may get better in the administrative part of it. And the reason I say that is it's Juneteenth Independence Day. Somehow the word freedom was changed out to be Independence Day. Wasn't nobody on the plantation enslaved wanting to be independent from America. We wanted to be free from bondage. And that's why we fought in the war as color troops. We weren't trying to be independent from America. We fought with the red, white, and blue, and a lot of people died. Over 750,000 European Americans died. Well, let's back out the black folks in there. Let's just say about 700,000 plus European American died, and a number of African American. I don't have that data in front of me right now. But in the war, both Confederates, Europeans, and both Union Europeans died for our freedom. And we, as people of African descent, fought and died for our freedom. Now, in July 28th, 1866, that was the day after the Congress enacted the Reauthorization Act that Black folks were officially part of the regular Army of the United States. That, in fact, is National Buffalo Soldier Day, which is coming up this Wednesday. So what we have been pushing for over the last real hard here in California, in alignment with the U.S. Congressional Study, Buffalo Soldier Study, that was released 2019, because of COVID and other reasons, I'll just leave it at that, other reasons, it has not been widely circulated. And, few people that have read it don't think it's possible to implement it. We have been implementing it, and how we've been implementing it, the entrance into Yosemite National Park is the Buffalo Soldier Memorial Highway. The entrance into Sequoia National Park is the Colonel Charles Young Memorial Highway. And this was done with bipartisan partnership at the state level, in collaboration with the national parks, the highest level of the national parks, in partnership with the National Mega Fraternity. The matriarch of Colonel Charles Young is Renetta Young. She is a member of the family, and professionally, she's a lawyer. She's the deputy controller of Columbia University. Some people say it's in New York City. I say it's in Harlem. It's kind of redundant, but most folks want to put it downtown somewhere. It's in Harlem, Columbia University, and she's a sister, a for real sister, Renetta Young. And so just yesterday, we had a conference call with the Colonel Charles Young National Monument staff in Ohio, with staff from the Presidio, where the Buffalo Soldiers were garrisoned. We didn't have representatives from Monterey, but they're on the way. Monterey is where the Buffalo Soldiers were garrisoned as well. And the first park rangers, some of the first park rangers in America, were the Buffalo Soldiers that went to both Yosemite and Sequoia on horseback, made the roads and trails that we enjoy today. Now, Sequoia has the largest living organisms on planet Earth. These big giant trees, they're so massive and so big. A lot of folks were cutting them down and just, looking for simple money and not really looking at preserving this natural wonder. So that is in place today. The idea that this Wednesday, we are going to be in Union Square. Now, Union Square is I'll say it like this, the richest real estate today in America. And that is where the Buffalo Soldiers rode through the streets of San Francisco on horseback as the honor guard when President Teddy Roosevelt dedicated the Dewey Monument at Union Square. I believe it's 72 feet high, with a statue of a Greek goddess named Nike above it. And it is like one of the biggest secrets here in California. In the richest real estate, the centerpiece of it is a statue of a Greek goddess symbolizing victory at Union Square, which is dedicated to the Union victory over the Confederacy. Because here in California, in the 1860 election for Abraham Lincoln, it was only 1,000 votes shy of it being a Confederate state. And so, as most of us from the South, my family from the South, know what that means. So the amount of slavery and affliction and the ongoing disparaging treatment of people of African descent is one of the things that is essential to come out of this reparations study. It's not just looking for a check. That may be part of it. It's not just, feeling good about being people of African descent, being American today. It is having a clear, conscious, cognitive conversation about what actually happened. And then from that, we can, hopefully arrive at some, suggested remedies to have a notion of reparative justice in a way that other states can take a look at, as well as the federal government take a look at the methodology on how we do that. And that is what I'm suggesting based upon the hearings that I've listened to and the people that are in the room that I know personally. They know they need help, and we certainly have the ability and the bandwidth to help them. We just have to do it in a way that has top eye on broader aspects in the national scene. California is going to be fine. I won't say it's easier, but the amount of enslavement of people of African descent was a shorter period of time in terms of the numbers that were enslaved that were under U.S. jurisdiction. The Spanish era is a lot longer, a lot fewer people. However, it began in 1535. But that, again, that's Spain. So we can reference that, but our focus is when in 1846, when the U.S. Army was sent out here to conquer and colonize California. We have all that data, the Stevenson's Regiment out of New York City, and the seen and unseen forces that we call Manifest Destiny. So again, that is the focus of Buffalo Soldier Day, is to talk about that legacy and talk about how the Buffalo Soldiers came into being when they were colored troops, how we became members of the regular army, and to the degree that, the national parks is willing and able to adhere to the congressional study recommendations, we can begin that process in the light of day, which has not happened. Well, if it has happened, it's been a small light. And finally, I'll say this: there are many groups that are registered with the United States Army, United States Navy as Buffalo Soldiers, official groups. There's many that are riding motorcycles, and there's folks that are still in the Army today that are not necessarily quote unquote Buffalo Soldiers, but they are veterans and are not getting adequate service. So we're partnering with CalVets here and the Veterans Administration. But the idea that all of that was predicated by folks, colored troops, and even before that, but colored troops primarily, and then the creation of Buffalo Soldiers, July 28th, 1866. And I'll stop there. And as Herschel say, I'll take questions, but the idea is to build a process in partnership with the National Park Service, the Interior Department, and whoever wants to come and be active and participating. So I'll stop there.
All right, well, thank you very much, Michael. Again, I will be looking to get involved in specific ways that help build from an economic equity perspective. So,
well, yeah, the challenge is we have a lot of that. A lot of people on the sidelines waiting for us to do all the work and then do the business. For example, the African American Chamber of Commerce in San Francisco, the California Black Chamber of Commerce with Aubrey Stone, who was a veteran. He died, and now the new group, they don't have nothing to do with it. And then, for example, the Pan-Africa Global Trade and Investment Conference that we helped bring to Sacramento and engage that. A lot of people on the sidelines waiting, but absent.
Yeah, and I hear you there, because that's certainly. I mean, I'm active now in different ways, but we'll talk about that. But I certainly believe in making things happen, but being very clear and and active in a very productive way, so that we spend less time talking about it and more time making it happen. So you'll know what I mean by that when we actually get together and talk about it. But there's things we can do right now. We should have expectations, especially from California, and as you know, the governor seems to be extremely progressive. There's billions and trillions of dollars available, and there's ways to make it work for us. And we don't have to ask them to give us anything. We can trade off, so to speak, but we've got to get those dollars into our communities.
Okay, well, I'm gonna put my my phone and my email in the chat room.
Great.
Michael, this is John Moss and everybody. I just wanted to let you know, Andrew, as well. I did, you may have reached out to him, Andrew, as well as Bubba Washington in LA and Buffalo Soldier, and asked him to join the call. But he says hi and wishes us the best in the future. He'd like to participate more. So if we could get him an email of the information, Andrew, that would be great, or Michael, okay?
Yeah. That. So again, the call that we had yesterday with the superintendents of several national parks and the leverage that these parks currently have, we call it agro-tourism, as well as just what the national parks does. It's a lot of money already on the table, and unfortunately, the national parks, in terms of, well, just the staff at #1 tourist city, well, arguably you could say New York, but because of COVID, it's not. It's San Francisco, almost 30 million visitors, and the dollars that are generated in a city that's run by a Black mayor and home of the vice president, Black woman, the Chamber of Commerce, I can go on and on. The Black dollars are not coming down, and the work that we have been doing for 4 years now, they're not helping, and they haven't helped. And unfortunately, many people say the cavalry's on the way, and so we've had to do some things that we didn't like to do. However, in order to fight another fight, you have to survive. And so I hear the words, and the folks that have been at the table in the past, I don't have a lot of confidence. They could have the information. We're not trying to hide it, but the national parks is where the meeting should be with them in partnership, and they have been absent for 4 years. So inviting them now that we've have achieved major success is probably not a good strategy, but I don't have a problem sharing information.
Well, I'm not certain if Herschel is here again. But in the meantime, if I would again ask Phil Fixico, because again, oh, Herschel Daniels, are you there? Can you unmute yourself if you're available?
Yeah, and Herschel, he kind of predicated me not pulling out the flamethrower, because the challenge is, again, okay, I'll give you an example. The Pan-Africa Global Trade and Investment Conference was housed in LA for 9 years. I was at the first one working with Dr. Ruben Jaja when there wasn't good data at all with what's happening with California trade and commerce, and then to bring it to the capital. And now we have major league support with the Secretary of State, with the treasurer, with the controller, with the lieutenant governor, that was not there before. And that did not happen, you know, with some of the organizations that people seek leadership from. So it's going to be difficult for them to take the lead on something they didn't do and don't have the bandwidth today to support. So in essence, what I'm saying, if we have, what we're saying is all of these agreements with banks that are going to come online, same thing with Herschel saying, that's coming online, let's just say in 6 months or sooner. The plan that we have in place that we're developing, whether they buy into it or not, we probably should be implementing it. So the free trade agreement in Ghana at headquarters is off and running right now. So I mean, you know, if we wait, I mean, we're going to be, you know, a little bit behind in a track race.
Well, I would suggest for Mr. Polk and you, Mr. Harris, and for Herschel and myself to connect together. As you may or may not know,
I agree.
During the Trump administration, there was a reorganization of what used to be the OPIC in the Import-Export Bank. Right now, they have double the amount from $30 billion to $60 billion focused on delivering solutions. And through what they call Prosper Africa, just like there's a whole of government approach here in the United States, there's a whole of government approach to deliver financial solutions throughout the continent of Africa using these tools and resources. Right here in Los Angeles, Bobby Hines, who is the international trade specialist, is waiting for me to connect you guys with him so we can move forward in an expeditious manner. So the ball's in your court. I'm ready.
Well, well, again, Bobby Hines, Dr. Ruben Jaja, Al Washington, that's the team that we started this path on. However, if you look at the last 2 years, you know, there's a gap. So I'm not, you know, discounting what you're saying. I'm just saying going forward. So, you know, the lieutenant governor and the group that is responsible for California's international trade right now, the agency heads, I haven't seen anybody there at the table. And when we're talking about doing a Pan-Africa trade and expanding it and actually having a subcommittee at the state capitol statutorily, again, we don't have this kind of, we don't have the LA folks. And currently the chair of the Black Caucus for California, Senator Bradford, he's from LA. And so I would hope that y'all lean on him a little bit and help implement a statutory California Pan-African committee, like every other region on the planet has, to gather this official data. And so we can do this in a broader band in a systemic way where all of the universities, Dr. Drake, and we're just at Chancellor May's house, UC Davis, we can do this in a way that is the way the rest of the world does it.
Michael, all I'm suggesting, Herschel is saying that you, Michael, right? He's saying you are the leader for the Sacramento FAU. That's what I heard him say, right? I have to wear that hat here in Los Angeles. All I'm saying is that let's go to war with who we have on the phone or who we have in the room, and let's us do it and not wait for anyone else to do it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, we could do that. So I have Don's 2 emails, and I know I have yours somewhere because we We've been Facebook friends for a little while, but we have not had this, direct link together to do, any project. But so let's focus on that, and we could start with what's so pregnant about Buffalo Soldier Day. So Colonel Charles Young was born enslaved in Kentucky, and he was the attaché in Liberia, building the roads, bridges, and ports in Liberia, and he died on assignment in Nigeria, in Lagos. And they kept the body for a year. The British kept the body for a year, which is kind of strange. I haven't gone down that path with the flamethrower yet, but that's got to happen as to what happened. But all of the trade and commerce in the current American platform in Africa, you can go to Colonel Charles Young and see what the efficacy of his work has brought us. And we can build on that, given the West Point is still in operations. And as we see right now in the news today, there is a systemic institutional racism in the military. So while we do the trade and commerce, we can level the playing field on how we secure ports, where 90% of the world trade is happening, and the airports. And so we can do this in a good way. So I'm definitely, I got your email, Andrew, and I see your phone. So I would think after, like, maybe Friday or Thursday or Friday after Buffalo Soldier Day, we just drill down. That works.
Well, in the meantime, again, Phil Fixico is here. I also invited Bobby McDonald, who is in Orange County, and he's the person that both Phil and Bob were able to meet with the former ambassador to the African Union, Chimbori Kwao, when she came a few years ago. But I am living and working in the congressional district of Karen Bass. So the city of Los Angeles, they have set up a reparations committee for the city. So we have access to inroads. All I'm asking us to do is let's move forward. Now, we do have time between now and July 28th. I would like for us to do everything we can in between now and then to decide what our message is, and let's get that message out, because until we do, we won't. And since we have the ability to record and document these activities, just these Zoom calls on a daily basis, we can begin to then repackage that. This needs to be a docu-reality series is what we actually are doing, but we have to treat it that way and not just think of it as Los Angeles or California. I'm in Hollywood, the entertainment capital of the world. How can we not engage our young people, and particularly those youth that are in the creative system, to be the ones that are driving the messages out to them, because we're only doing it for them. We can't benefit this for the next 100 years. It's got to be the youth, but they're not here. I don't see anyone on this call that's under 30 years old. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm saying it's up to us to engage them in driving the narrative.
Well, I know that it can happen. We could push something. And the reason why I'm hesitating is because what we did Friday, we could do that again and probably get the national parks on, because, well, the federal government is our biggest friend sometimes, and it's our biggest enemy. But we have pushed them to the point where they are ready to really help us. And so, let's just do it. We just do the right hand, left hand, and then on the 28th, bring them together. So maybe we should just do a call amongst ourselves and get tight, and then bring them on.
All right. Well, let me ask you, is it possible for us to begin identifying those videos or content that's been produced maybe last year, maybe previous events, maybe from other events throughout the country, that we can begin to compile together so we can put them in one place? Because at the end of the day, we're going to have references that demonstrates that we've been in the game, not just for a day or two, but for the long haul. And I'm sure that we have references that we can pull together, an infomercial, if you would, that this team could decide what that infomercial says, but we have to have a call of action. What's the outcome? And then what's the next steps? That's critically important. We have to have that from the beginning so we'll know where we're going.
Well, what is exciting is I talked to Ezioku, Baba Ezioku.
Yeah, Clarence, yes.
And, yeah, and I intentionally said, hey, look, we have the Cal veterans against the wall. And so would you just agree to be the co-chair? Because for Cal vets and a new path where we're not simply minorities, we're Black veterans, you know. And so I started down that path. And so the idea, and you're right, we have tons of data, back data, and we could house it within LA. And I'm thinking Leimert Park for the political reasons and
Yes.
because there's more Black veterans around Leimert Park than anywhere in the nation, according to their data. You know, it would be easy to do it up here in Sacramento next to the headquarters, but you don't have the number of veterans. You certainly don't have the number of veterans homeless on the street that could be in housing if we were able to get proper technical assistance to the veterans that are homeless so they could be off the street and in housing, because they have, you know, some of them have, you know, for real veteran services and several $1,000s at their disposal. They just got some mental health challenges. So yes, I'll make myself available to you and yield to your expertise in Hollywood on how to frame and package it, because I don't know how to do that.
Well, the great news is that I'm not an expert, but I'm an expert on subject matter experts.
Yes, I hear you clear. You damn sure Hollywood.
But look, let me tell you that Leimert Park is also the home of two of the transit stations, the Crenshaw LAX transit line.
Yes, sir.
Opening up later this year in preparation for the Super Bowl next year and the Olympics in 2028. Until and unless we control this narrative, it's going to get away from us. So I'm just saying that yes, yes, and yes, Michael, now's the time, and we are the ones to do it.
Yes, and again, I'm gonna yield to you on how to package that. And Don, because you know I'm a for real historian. I'm dangerous because I know, and I rest on. I come out of ASCAT, Queen Nzinga. So the idea that the CAM was created in the agricultural district, I believe it's the 54th agricultural district, snuck it into, you know, ag legislation to create the museum. You know, and then the sister who married Mr. Star Wars, you know, who knows a little bit about mutual bonds, you know, billions and trillions of dollars. So that's there. But I know these things, you know, from a historical standpoint and document.
And that information is key. That information is key. And having that justifies a lot of things.
Yes, sir.
Going to, no, we can package that for sure.
I'm definitely with you. And John, Moss, I'm very mindful that when we drill down and talk about how LA was founded by Afro-Latinos on indigenous land, you know what I mean? That how powerful that narrative is. And I was the only assembly member at the Capitol, Assembly Member Ramos, who's indigenous. You know, I'm there with him. And it's like, man, I'm gonna have to represent everybody Black on the planet because I'm the only Black one there when they're talking about tearing down. Well, they did tear down the statue of Juniper Sierra and about to put an indigenous statue up in its place. There is a rich, long legacy of very dark-skinned indigenous people with very dark-skinned African people in the land, the City of Angels in particular, but all over the United States. So that, John, I'm just throwing that out there because I'm reminding you that I know.
Yeah, and you know me, I'm sitting here going, don't forget us. Don't forget
I
remember.
And
and please keep in mind, as Andrew knows, when we were at the Crenshaw introduction as well, I also was introducing the from the BFWs down there, very active with the African-American vets and so forth. And also I've been involved with the military recognized since 1981, and our nonprofit is recognized through Colonel Smith and all the military collaborative out of LA. And there's a lot of organizations in that area that we need to ring the bell to as well. That's all.
Well, Don, Andrew, I'm with you. So I'll make my schedule. Well, Monday I can move things around. So you just let me know. I'll make Monday available. Tuesday and Wednesday is going to be kind of tight because
Monday's good. The sooner the better.
Yeah.
But we don't have to wait until then. We can begin the email conversations, so we'll have something to talk about. But in addition to July 28th being a very important day, September the 4th is the day, September 4th, 1781, right? Was the founding date for the Pueblo that has become Los Angeles. And 26 of those 44 first settlers were of African and indigenous descent. So I just suggest that we take a look at what, from a historical standpoint, let's look at our calendar events to take us through this International Decade for People of African Descent, because we have to engage our local community here with understanding how we're connected globally. One way to do that is to use the existing framework, not make it up from the beginning, just use what's there.
That's right. That's right.
You know, I'm with that completely. And I'm scheduled to be in San Diego. You're gonna love this. I'm scheduled to be in San Diego the first for Afrofuturism conference.
Yeah, with Sheldon Williams.
Sheldon, but Luana Richmond is heading it up down in LA. With that, there's so much feminine energy down there in San Diego, just ridiculous. Both Dr. Weber's, you know, the pro tem, you know, of the Senate, and I go on and on. And then I haven't kept up track with the Republican women down there that get it. You know what I mean? That get it. At the end of the day, San Diego area is still Navy, and the Marines is right there at Camp Pendleton, and that's very old conservative money. Pasadena as well. But so yeah, we can put that story together on September 4th. So yeah, we could.
I'm just thinking out loud.
Probably tell we got to like narrow me down, focus on the area because
Well, the great news is that we can put everything on the table and then decide what we have. We have to know what we have in order to make a decision.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. Well, I'm telling you, I'll say it like this. Nathan Hare, the first Black Studies program in modern United States, he's right down the street in San Francisco. He's still around. Oba Tashaka. So all of the history, Dr. John Hope Franklin, I'm in his living room. We have, not only what they put in my head, but because they're not dead. We could pull them out if it's something important. But the idea.
Well, Michael, let's think about this, because in my experience, the World Economic Forum, right, has provided us with a guideline for if you had all the money in the world, how would you do it? What would you present? So when they do the World Economic Forum every year, right, they actually have a bio of each of the speakers, each of the people that's going to be involved with. They have an identity of each of the organizations, all their background, all that's readily available. So when it's time to actually do the event, you have an ability to reference everyone there and going forward. How likely is it, Michael, that we could begin to compile our own content about these individuals that are still living, because they're the living legacies that we have to work with, and let them be the bridge between what has come before and those youth that we have dealing with Afrofuturism. Let the Afrofuturists be the ones to package what we have from the existing elders.
Man, I was planning on getting some good sleep tonight. You messed up my whole night. I'm gonna be dreaming about this all night. Okay, yeah, no, I hear you. I took good notes on that bio for each speaker. Living legacy to an arrow to the future with Afrofuturism.
Simple.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. I hear you, Hollywood. I hear you.
Well,
Lord.
Well, family, look, we've done this for an hour and a half. We can do it as long as you choose, but I think we've accomplished quite a lot today. And so what I would ask is that if there are any closing thoughts or next steps, because we'll be here again tomorrow.
I'm good.
Yes,
And
Mr. Honorable Williams.
I'm here.
Is your contact information in the chat?
Yes, ma'am. I'll put it at the beginning and at the end. It's in there twice. Andrew Williams, Jr.
Son in LA, digital designer, and he has presented a proposal to a project that he would like to implement a part of our project. And so I would like to, since he's in LA, so that he can become a part of the planning process.
Well, yes, yes, and yes is all I'll ever tell you, Miss Kennedy.
Thank you. I will send you his contact information and send him your contact information.
Very well.
And you can explain to him what's going on, and he can send you a copy of the proposal that has been developed. Up to now, we have been thinking of it being a part of the LaDroit Park program that we've been talking about. And since you all mentioned it, that's why I thought about it. I said, oh, that he should be involved with this.
Well, I'll rely upon both Don and Michael for us as a team to look at whatever comes in. But I think our focus right now is on this next 7 days, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Oh, okay. Okay, but I'll be in touch with you. Thanks.
Oh, I'm available every day. So you
Okay.
have my contact. I'm not going anywhere.
I see you have a WhatsApp number here. Is that the number to call you? The
Yes,
213?
ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah, WhatsApp or mobile, same number.
okay, great.
And Ms. Kennedy, go ahead.
Andrew
Yes.
John, sorry. I would recommend you also reach out to our friend, Lady Alicia, because some of these points we touched on at the Beverly Hills event that we did with the Friends of the African Union and networks from all over the world. So,
Well, technically, I'm here representing her as well. So,
well, I'm
sure,
just saying I'm just bringing up her name. That's all. So good. Thank you.
yeah. Well, to John's point, one of the resources that Lady Alicia Hamilton brings is she's working with Herschel and myself. She has an online platform that's been sitting there for several years. It's called the Revelation Network, TRN.TV. And there's a sister organization called Universal Citizens Media Network. One deals with religious content, the other deals with secular. But we have a place right now called the Freedoms Channel, where if we choose, we can actually begin right now populating our channel with this content. So she's made that available, but until there's content available, the infrastructure is just sitting there. So we'll be able to talk about that more, Don and Michael and others as we go forward. But thanks for bringing that up, John.
Absolutely. I'm here.
And Andrew, why don't we make sure we contact Herschel so he can hopefully be a part of our initial conversations.
Oh, he will be, no doubt.
Okay, great.
So we just have one
and just FYI real quick, Abram just joined us, who works with youth out of New York in the UN and is also very involved with media and television and so forth. So just FYI, since I just saw him come on.
Well, that's perfect because I was about to ask him to introduce himself. So now's perfect timing. If you could be so kind as to unmute and introduce yourself, now's that time, sir.
Good evening. I'm Evan Collier, Rochester, New York, FAU, SmartWise, Monroe County. Previously worked with Queen Mother Dolores Blakely as the youth UN representative for a New Future Foundation. So I've represented them and been a part of their organization and FAU Been going on 6-7 years now with experience with the UN, working with youth, developing programs, not only educational focus, but as well as sports focused, and being a communications major from Syracuse, so have network and responsibilities in media and radio as well.
So if you could be so kind as put your contact information in the chat, and I'm asking everyone to save the chat so you'll have our contact information. But yes, since you just came on, please introduce yourself. Herschel, we brought it around to back to you.
I appreciate it. Okay, giving me a chance to enjoy some food today. I appreciate it. All right, so UNESCO is one of the organizations that are currently through the UNESCO Club of Peace in Frederick, Maryland, is holding an 8-day summer camp that is both in person and virtual, that wraps up on Monday, the same day that we turn in our report to the 2021 Indigenous Peoples Forum. If you have not received the work paper around that, then please put your name in the chat and an email, and we'll have that for tomorrow. We're going to walk through that paper, and that paper also includes our 4-point plan for the U.S. Department of Agriculture. And I will be answering questions around the USDA program of funding as we approached it through the American Rescue Plan Act, the appropriations and authority of the Secretary of Agriculture to oversee $300 billion worth of annualized farm credit. It's at his discretion. He's the guy. Buck stops with him. And that the president can appoint members to oversee through the USDA this funding. Our preliminary research has indicated that it's not only bad for minority farmers, but it's bad for farmers who are family farmers. Because if you're not a mega farm, then you have to depend upon USDA credit. And it has been a bad deal for years, decades. We're new to this. We're looking for you to provide us guidance. When I say we're new to this, as a member of the National Community Reinvestment Coalition, we started in 2016 in creating these bank-based community benefit agreements with Federal Reserve banks. We've done no agreements with the farm credit system. And so we look for you to provide us the information and guidance that we need to help you be productive in America's farms, to be productive in international trade, and to implement the Black Folks Plan made local to your community. My name is Herschel Daniels. I'm the Managing Director of the African Diaspora Directorate. I'm the creator of Friends of the African Union, with a group that in 2012 answered the call of Ambassador Ali. And so working with people such as Andrew Williams Jr., we made this happen. We set this up. Our youth director, Mr. Avram, who you just met, has been with us for 7 years. And we're looking forward to working with you over this year to be the change. Any final questions? The floor is now open for those questions. Tell your friends, be here tomorrow. We are going to wrap it up in a great form in this coming week, because on Wednesday, we're celebrating history. It's not only National Buffalo Soldier Day, but it's also our ancestors who in 1868 became American citizens. Thank you for your time. It's valuable. I'm not going to try and hold you for it. Queen Mother, I will get to you for the 7 points. Mary, I would hope to be able to on Monday. We talk about, the plan for Africa. Michael, we got a lot of work to do. And the mayor, I did read the letter and we have answers for it. They're completely off track. But I'll answer those tomorrow.
And me, Herschel. Don't forget me.
If I did, you'll remind us. All right.
Herschel,
Yes.
would we want to possibly introduce the Arlington project as a overarching move?
Yeah,
in
so I
relation
wanted to
the
talk to
Buffalo
you
Soldiers?
about that for Wednesday. I definitely want to talk to you about that for Wednesday.
All right.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask Queen Mother if she can, I put her on the spot again, asking her to take some words as we go into the night.
Herschel,
And-
are
yes.
you talking about me, Wakila?
Yes, yes.
Okay, could I ask Prophet Anyanwu to do that for me?
Your choice. Yes.
Prayer warrior. Elder Anyanwu, are you still there?
Yes.
Yes, would you pray us out, please?
Okay. God of our hearts, God of our understanding, God of our realization, we come together giving thanks for this hour and for this day and for all those who have worked for decades to bring us to this point. We ask you to bless their lives and their families, give them strength, dear Lord, to continue to go forth in what they are doing, strengthen them, empower them, heal them in areas they need healing, prosper our community, prosper our people across this world. This is our day. This is our hour. We step into it fully. We claim it. We know it's ours, and we go boldly before those who do not understand, but yet shall as time progresses. And we thank you for all the blessings on each and every one here. We ask this in the mighty name of those that each and every one believes in. And in my case, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Very
Amen.
good.
Man.
And thank you, Ed Food Foundation.
Let me ask real quick, is this combined meeting between the 4 and 5 or the 7 and 8?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
it's combined between the 7 and 8.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And the 8 and 10.
Yeah, we're your long wind crowd here. All right. We appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow.
You may as well add the 7 a.m. too then.
Yeah, look, we're 7-Eleven, baby. 7-Eleven.
All right, but that's owned by Japanese. We're owned by people of African descent. Okay. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you, Ed Food Foundation, for hosting the call with the African Diaspora Directorate. Good night, all.
Good night, all.
Good night.
Blessings. Good night, everybody.
I say, technology is only great when it works. I'm going to wind it up now.